everybody, and welcome to Check It Out, the monthly show about what's happening at the Bethel Park Public Library. I'm Mary Mullen.
And I'm Elaine Volpe.
And Elaine and I are here today to let everybody know what's happening at the library. We are in the, we are in the middle of summer, it seems. We're not really in the middle of summer, but it
seems that way, doesn't it? It seems
that way, that the summer's going by so quickly. And we had a little short hiatus for a bit. We haven't done a new show for a bit because I was very busy trying to get my brain fit. And I don't know if it's I told somebody I don't know if it was fried or fit by the end of our brain fitness program, but we had a lot of fun with it. So I thought I'd start today by talking about the adult summer reading program. And those of you who have participated in the program before kind of, I think, know how our adult summer reading program works. You can register for the program either at the library or online. Mm-hmm. And you can once you sign up, then every time you read something new, you fill out an entry form, put it in the little fish bowl, or you can also submit your entry forms online also. And of course, each week we have a gift card. This year we have a $25 gift card from some local retailers. So that's a great prize. But I have
the grand prize.
The grand prize. I have to say that I think this is the first year where the kids have been jealous of the adults because first of all, our theme for this year is Open Up a Dream. Mm-hmm. And so that kind of has a nighttime sleep dream, lots of different things you can do with it. And our grand prize is this absolutely beautiful telescope. And the telescope is sitting on a display table very close to my office. And so I can hear the kids as they go by. And it's a lot of, that's really cool, and then the parent sometimes has to say, that's for the adults. Right. And I hear the little disappointment in the voices of the kids. Oh, that we can't win that? No.
It is a very cool prize.
It is a very cool prize. In addition to the telescope, let me show you the other part of this grand prize is this. This is a dream pack. And the dream pack has a dream journal for you to record your dreams, and then some information about interpreting your dreams. Let's see if anything else. So it says everything you need to inspire, interpret, and record your dreams. And then also a star chart. So we have a terrific grand prize this year for adult summer reading: telescope, dream pack, and star chart. So I thought, since we are talking about sleep and dreams, that I would share some fun facts about
Let's do it.
Sleep.
Dreams are very fascinating.
Now,
aren't they?
Yeah, that's. Now I was going to ask you. Do you remember your dreams?
A lot of times, but not all the time. And I know that you do dream, even if you don't think that you do dream. You do dream every single night. Mm-hmm. So I can say probably half my dreams I remember.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
and experts do say you should record your dreams, which I always said I was going to do, and I never have. But
you need to do it very quickly after you wake up from a dream, because one of the things I learned that 5 minutes after a dream is over, half of the content has been lost. 90% is gone after 10 minutes.
That's very interesting.
So if you wake up from a dream, if you win the prize, you get your dream journal.
Right,
you should be
keep that very handy on the nightstand.
You should be writing it down.
Yes, I can attest to that because a couple of years ago I dreamt about a number. My dad, who had passed away several years ago, came to me in a dream, and I forget what it entailed, but there was numbers involved, and I knew I had to write down the numbers as soon as I got up because I was going to play the number.
Right.
And I only remember 2 out of the 3 numbers or something like that, and I never did play it. And then, sure enough, those 2 numbers hit.
Yeah,
So ever since then, I could have kicked myself. Ever since then, I was like, okay, I'm going to start writing stuff down.
Right. They seem so vivid when you first wake up, but it does slip away gradually.
That's very interesting. So what is it again? After 5 minutes, you lose half of it.
Half of it is gone, and
after 10 minutes, 90% of the dream.
So basically, within the first 5 to 10 minutes of your waking, if you want to keep that, if you want to remember that dream, you should write it down somewhere.
Yeah.
And I have a little catalog at home, and it has a pen with a light built into it. So I thought, oh, well, that's handy if you know, if you wake up in the middle of the night.
Right. You don't want to wake your spouse.
You don't want to wake anyone up. So you've got to have your paper in hand and your little pen with the light, so you can quickly write it all down. 1/3 of our life is spent sleeping, and which is a long time, and 6 years of it dreaming. So if you live to be 100, you will sleep for about 33 years of that. 6 of those you are going to be dreaming. Most of what we know about sleep has been learned in the last 25 years, and that's because now we can do the brain scans, and we can see what the brain is doing while we are sleeping. How long does it take you to fall asleep, Miss Elaine? When you go to bed at night?
Usually not very long.
No, me either. And it's interesting, it says anything less than 5 minutes means you are sleep deprived. It actually, the average length of time for somebody to fall asleep is 10 to 15 minutes. So if you fall asleep the way I do, I think I fall asleep as my head is going back towards the pillow. I go out pretty quickly, so that means you're sleep deprived.
So it should take you about 10 to 15 minutes to fall asleep. If
that's
it takes you less than that, you're sleep deprived.
You're sleep deprived. You are sleep.
I'm definitely sleep deprived.
I was a little surprised by that one too, but I guess the idea is that we should not be getting to bed totally exhausted. We should have a regular routine for our bedtime. Go to bed the same time, and just go to bed. Even if you're not very sleepy. Go to bed at that same time anyway, and within a few minutes you will fall asleep. But so I know I don't get quite enough sleep at all. So, and I think most people nowadays struggle with that.
And what do they say now, adults? Is it 6 to 8 hours? Is what you should be getting every night.
Yeah. Well, that's a daydream for me. I don't do that. I mentioned my brain fitness class that we taught. It was a 5-week program that we had, and part of it was talking about activities that help people keep their brains fit, and one of these is getting a good night's sleep. So I was doing some reading about sleep, and I learned how busy our brains are when we are sleeping. Our brains are very active. We actually have more brain wave activity when we're dreaming than when we are awake. I didn't know that. And when you're dreaming, your brain is racing with all these brain waves, brain activity, but your body is paralyzed.
Right. That's interesting. That I knew.
That is interesting. Your body can't move, but your brain's going like crazy. And as you said, everybody dreams. A lot of people say they don't think they dream because they don't remember their dreams. But everybody dreams, even if you don't remember them. And actually, we dream about every 90 minutes. Which reflects our sleep cycle, which we go through 4 stages of sleep about every 90 minutes. Now, if you're snoring, you cannot be dreaming.
Oh, is that right?
I've read that a couple different places. So if you're snoring, you cannot be dreaming. I don't know what the connection is.
I don't think I snore.
Okay, well, I don't know. We'll have to ask your kids, right?
Yeah, really.
Okay, now, there are basically 4 common dream motifs. These are 4 themes, things that people must dream frequently about. Okay.
And falling? Is that one of them?
Falling is one of them. I've had that dream. Okay, and I think I have too. That's a frequent dream. And it's interesting, these little dream motifs cut across cultural backgrounds, economic status. Everybody dreams these because these are anxieties that are common to all of us. So we have falling, flying. And that's one I don't know if I've experienced that very often. I guess just flying.
Not flying in a plane.
Not flying in a plane.
I don't think I have either.
That's interesting. Nakedness in public, that is a common one. Either you're naked or you're not fully clothed. Fully clothed. It's an unpreparedness. And I know my husband, that is one of his, he was saying, well, I had this dream last night. I always know what's coming. he's back in college and he is not ready for class, or
Really?
he has a
This
test.
is a recurring dream that
It's not the same one, but it's always the same scenario. He's at college. He's where we went to school together, and he's knows he has a test.
So what do these mean then? Like the falling or the unpreparedness? What does it mean?
Well, the thing is, see, that was the interesting thing. Scientists, there seems to be some disagreement among the scientists as to whether or not dreams have any real significance. Some feel they do, others do not. Now, here's what
I always felt that they did.
they do. Well, we don't know. It's like a lot of things where it's this activity that's still being studied. But there are 3 basic reasons why we dream, and the scientists seem to be in agreement on that. They help us process new information, new things that we learn during the day. We process this better during a dream. It helps consolidate our memories, and it helps us rebalance our emotional compass. I like that, our emotional compass. So it helps us with our emotions, our memory, and learning new things. So some scientists say the content is important. Others say no, it's just a side effect of our brain activity. So I don't know.
Very intriguing.
But I know a lot of people take dream interpretation very seriously. I don't know if I necessarily do, but I know
I don't know that
many
I read
people.
that much into it, but I think I'd like to believe that it means something. Like certainly if people who have passed come to you in a dream, it makes you feel, I don't know. Like
You'll still feel close to them.
Yeah,
still
right,
close to them in
right.
some way.
Right.
And there are some famous dreamers. Famous dreamers. I have little things about famous dreamers. Paul McCartney claims that the melody for one of his most famous songs, "Yesterday," came to him in a dream. He heard the melody in a dream. Elias Howe, the inventor of the sewing machine. This is a little strange, I thought. He said the inspiration for the needles that he designed for the sewing machine came from a nightmare in which he was being attacked by spear-bearing cannibals.
Oh my!
So apparently that these spears that these cannibals were holding
what gave him the idea
the inspiration to design the needles for sewing machine. Abraham Lincoln dreamed of his assassination shortly before it happened.
I never knew that. Did you ever read
I had heard that
I never
before.
did.
He did dream of that. A couple of authors had come up with inspiration for their books.
How do we know that Abraham Lincoln dreamt of that? Was it
Apparently he recorded it. Apparently he either recorded it or he told somebody that he dreamed of it. Mary Shelley, who wrote Frankenstein, and Robert Louis Stevenson, who wrote Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, both said that the plots, the stories for their books came from dreams. So
Imagine that.
So I thought
That is pretty neat. Those are some fun facts.
those are some interesting things about sleep and dreaming. So why don't you tell us what's going on in the children's department with your summer reading program?
Yeah, I do have some announcements. Now, our summer reading is totally different this year. And I think I did mention it when we taped in May, that K through 5, they're doing something brand new called questions.com, or they go to questions.com, and they play this summer game all online, and they learn and they read through those activities. For the younger kids, we're still doing the same old book bucks, and our theme is along the same lines. It is Dream Big. And then for teens, it's Own the Night. So if you haven't registered, certainly come out and do that because it's not too late. Again, birth through preschool would be earning book bucks, keeping track of their books, earning book bucks, and then getting to come to our library store and shopping for some prizes. Questions, it's mostly because it's all online. The rewards are online too. You're just trying to earn those virtual badges and taking the next step and trying to complete as many quests as you can. And then for teens, we do something very similar, actually the same thing as the adults, and we give away a weekly gift card. And some nice gift card giveaways this year, as always. I think this week we're giving away Fandango movie tickets, and I believe next week might be Vocelli Pizza. So we have some good ones. So definitely make sure you register if you haven't done that already. And then as far as scheduling, I just had some announcements. The Dream Big, Sing Your Heart Out, Be a Star concert that was originally scheduled for this Saturday has been rescheduled. The new date is Wednesday, August 8th at 6:30 p.m. So we're still taking registrations in person. There is a $10 fee, but this fee covers your entire family. It admits your entire family to the concert. Bill Pate is someone who I buy books off of upstairs in the children's department, but he's also a musician on the side, and he's doing these concerts. He's very talented. He's been doing them for years, and it's a very interactive show, so it's great for kids of all ages. So if you want more information, you can certainly call us, or you can check out Bill Pate's website at www.drumtrail.com. And there's some pictures up there. He has a photo gallery and he has some videos and a little bit of his background and his philosophy on music. So check that out and make sure you sign up to come to the concert again on Wednesday 8th at 6:30 p.m. And then many families who registered their kids for summer reading might have gotten a flyer with a misprint. If you got this bag or the bag for the younger kids, because this was in both of them, you will have something in there that looks like this. Some of them had a misprint because we were accidentally using last year. So I just want to announce that the swim party for this year is Friday, August 3rd at 6 p.m. at the YMCA.
I know that's always a popular event.
Oh, it is. It is. It's a great time. And thank you to our friends at the Y for making this possible yet again. And I also want to thank Brewster's for their partnership. They came out to our carnival this year, so it's always nice to have them at our kickoff event. And they also just recently donated individual cups of their flavored ice to our teens at the Teen Library Lock-In that took place a couple Fridays ago. So
that's what's left over in the freezer,
yeah,
right?
You probably saw some of the stuff. And if you didn't taste it, you have to taste it because they were delicious. So very kind, very generous of them to do that. And we are partnering with them again coming up on Thursday, July 19th for what is becoming our annual Scoop Night, because we've done this the last few years in a row. But it is scheduled for Thursday, July 19th this year. And we encourage you to come on out and bring your family and maybe try a new flavor that you haven't tried yet. I'm currently addicted on the chocolate almond coconut yogurt.
Ooh, that does sound good.
Put that in a waffle cone and
you're good.
In for a treat.
Yes. That sounds wonderful.
Yes. So no better time for ice cream than a hot summer July evening, right? So 6 to 9 p.m. again on July 19th. Brewster's donates 20% of the evening's profits back to the library. So shout out to them and thank them.
That's a win-win situation.
Absolutely.
Right? Ice cream and donations to the library.
Yes.
That's
great. Did you know they give your pet, if you have a dog, you can bring your dog and they give them free ice cream? I think that's all the time, or it might be certain days, but I just recently saw a sign. So you can bring the entire family out, including your pets, and have them cool off with an ice cream treat as well. And I know Tuesdays or Thursdays is bring your own banana and get half off of a banana split.
Oh, what great ideas.
So some good deals going on there. Just want to highlight some upcoming children's programs. We have Bubble Blast coming up on Wednesday, July 11th at 7 p.m. So you know the bubble packaging wrap? We're going to paint with them. Make for an interesting print, right? Messy but fun. This is for school-age kids. Kindergarten through 5 can register. And I think the idea is to spread the paint on the bubble wrap first, and then press down. Make different sorts of designs. So,
that is a great idea.
Yeah, so that'll be fun. Library Olympics coming up on Monday, July 23rd. I think our World Olympics are scheduled to begin the week after, if I'm not mistaken. So we're going to kick things off here at the library on the 23rd with our own version, our own kind of library Olympic challenges. We'll also be making torches and taking an Olympic run around the building. So make sure you sign up for that. And the ever-popular origami on Tuesday, July 24th. You know, Miss Lynn's our expert on origami. And she'll be making all sorts of different things out of paper. That's the ancient art of folding paper, so come learn more about that.
I wonder if she got any new ideas. I understand she just was in Italy.
She did. I haven't talked to her too much about her trip.
I wonder if she has any Italian origami ideas.
You never know.
You never know.
You never know.
I don't know. Leaning Tower of Pisa or something.
Yeah, who knows? Hey, if anybody can do it, Lynn can do it.
That's true.
Also, some upcoming teen programs that are going to be a lot of fun. Duct Tape Madness on Tuesday, July 17th. We've been doing this for a couple years now, and we always get the crowd because it's so neat what you can make out of duct tape and duct tape alone. Like, you know, I always thought when you saw those duct tape wallets that you started with a base. Like I thought maybe cardboard or something was underneath there, just out of tape. My son's actually been making them, and he'd be mad if he knew I was showing this on the show, because this is one of his first versions. He's much improved now. This is one of his first duct tape wallets that he made for me. Don't you like the little heart on there?
I do.
You put one on the back. But you can get really fancy. He even put the credit card holders in there.
Oh, goodness. And this is another Miss Lynn
put the
program,
dollar bills.
right?
Miss Kathleen's an expert too, so she's doing it for us.
Okay.
Miss Kathleen, who just recently came back from Mexico.
Oh, okay.
Will be joining us in July, and she's going to do the duct tape madness.
Oh, okay.
And then also dream interpretation on Thursday, July 12th, because as I said, I just always think that's such a fascinating topic. And Miss Erin has found some neat books on the subject, so she'll be conducting that class and also making dream journals. Since the experts do say that you should be recording your dreams, we will make a homemade journal for you to do that. So that's for tweens and teens, 5th grade and up. And also coast into the library to make a homemade coaster. And how do you think we'll be making a homemade coaster?
Oh, boy.
Again, I kind of thought you'd start off with base, and when she said Miss Lynn is doing this one, and she said we'll be making them out of magazines, I kind of had the idea of just tearing apart old magazines and gluing them down to something, kind of like decoupage or something. But no, she's making them out of old magazines, just old magazines.
Just, oh, I see. And like
taking strips, folding them, connecting them by putting it through here, connecting it so you have one long piece.
Okay.
And then rolling. Now this is only the start of one. You can imagine when it's done though, what it's going to look like. So it's rolling magazine. So it's a neat idea. I think all you have to have is a whole lot of patience.
Right.
Because that's a lot of
magazines.
And
too.
A lot of magazines. We
magazines.
do have some that we've been collecting. But if you sign up for this program, it might be helpful to bring your own magazines. But what a neat idea.
That's another great idea. That really is.
Make a couple of them and have neat little coasters. Okay. So that's coming up again on Tuesday, July 31st. Also want to thank our friends at AMF Mount Lebanon Lanes, not only for all the coupons that they've been donating, but also for hosting our end of the summer bowling party, because while our swim party is on August 3rd, we have our bowling party scheduled for August 9th. That's a Thursday morning at 10 a.m. So we want to thank them over there, Lynn and Dan. But I also want to show them, they've been passing these out. They gave them to us to distribute. So again, if you signed up for summer reading, you got one in your bag. But if parents, if you haven't pulled this out and you haven't done this yet, you want to do so, because I just signed my boys up last week. And what it is you take a few minutes to register online, totally free, and every week they will send you a voucher for 2 free games per day.
Per day.
So at the start of the week, you get one for the whole week. You get vouchers for the whole entire week. So, I mean, it's a no-brainer. I mean, what a great, great deal.
It is a great deal.
All you're paying is for your shoe rental, and then if you want to have lunch there or some snacks, but the games itself are free, 2 per day. So make sure you take the time to sign your kids up for that. It's an awesome program.
Yeah, it's great, especially in hot weather and the kids. And
sure, and you need a little break in the inside and the air conditioning, or if it's a rainy day and you can't go to the pool, you know, or
you can go bowling.
In the evening when you're looking for something to do as a family. Yeah.
This is Mr. Bold wrapping it up here at the Car Cruise at Ellis Cafe. Hey, wait a minute. Who do I see over there? That's Jimmy Gaskip. When I think about car cruises and Jimmy Gaskip, I think about Rev 'em Up for Kids Car Cruise. Let's see if we can get a moment of his time and see what's happening this year. Jim, great to see you again.
Always a pleasure to see you, Mr. Bold.
I hear it's your 4th year, Rev 'em Up for Kids Car Cruise. What are you looking to accomplish this year?
Well, I think a couple things really. The car cruise itself, all the cruisers just love it. They love to be able to park on grass at the fairgrounds, such a historical place. So the cruisers just absolutely love it. We really wanted to take the cruise into another direction as well, and try to get the whole family involved. So we actually added a kids zone. There's a ton of things kids related to do. Then we have multiple vendors. So there's really something for everyone. But our ultimate goal is to raise funds for the Bethel Park Junior Football Program, which I'm involved with. Everything that we raise at the cruise goes towards field improvements to Bethel Park fields.
Jim, one last question. It's the most important one. When is the car cruise?
It's Sunday, July 15th at the South Park County Fairgrounds, 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. We'll open the doors at 10 a.m. for the show cars. We'll have a special guest musical appearance by Johnny Angel and the Halos. It's $5 per car. 400 of the first cars will receive dash plaques and a bunch of goodie related car items as well. And the spectators, there's $2 emissions.
I've been lucky enough to find some of that help that Jim Gaskeb told me he needed in order to run a successful event. To my left, I have Ollie. To my right, I have Bob and Chuck. Ollie, you're the first man that the cruisers will see when they come to the fairgrounds.
Yes, they come to me. The entrances, they have one entrance to come in, and it's right by the big clock. And they come in, and we give them all their paperwork, and we give them a dash plaque and collect their money, and then they move on to Bob.
Ollie, thanks a lot.
Okay.
And I know that the gentlemen and ladies that come up will have a good time when they first meet you there at the fairgrounds. Moving over to Bob. Bob, it's my understanding that you are a swingman or a floater assisting Ollie in what he does. Can you tell me something about that?
Well, after Ollie gives the people their dash plaques and all the paperwork, then we have to find a parking spot for them. So I direct them toward where to go to find the parking spots, and then Chuck will explain all that later. But I also help the vendors find out where their locations are, and then as the show goes on, we have to find empty parking places to put the late arrivals in. And I hope everybody shows up because it's all for the kids.
Bob, thanks a lot, and I hope everybody has a good time there as well. Thank you very much for your time. Chuck, it's my understanding that you may have the hardest job of all. Why don't you tell me about that?
Well, we get the people after Bob's done with them and Ollie, and we line the field actually the day before. We spend 3 or 4 hours down there in the hot sun. And I'd like to give some credit to Ray Hazelbaker, who couldn't make it tonight, who actually does the drawings and does the layouts of the field. But anyhow, we try to get people, keep the groups together. People, want to have 4 or 5, 6 of their friends all one place, and basically we try to get everybody in and out as smooth as possible. So I hope everybody from Bethel and their surrounding communities can make it.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. It was a pleasure speaking with you, and I can tell by the quality of individual that the three of you are that Jimmy has a very, very good crew backing him up. Once again, this is Mr. Bold at the Rev 'em Up for Kids Car Cruise pre-show. I'm lucky enough to be in the company of Allegheny County Councilman Vince Gaskeb. Vince, pleasure to see you again.
Mr. Bold, always pleasure to be with you.
What does the Rev 'em Up for Kids Car Cruise mean to Allegheny County?
Allegheny County always wants to partner with our municipalities and our friends, and the one thing great about the Rev 'em Up for the Kids, it's for charity, it's for Bethel Park Junior Football, so it really strikes home to Bethel Park. But to use the park is a great aspect, it's a great facility. People come out to the fairgrounds and say, wow, I haven't been out here in a long time, and the park really looks good, and there's different things that I haven't noticed. So it's great for Allegheny County to kind of showcase South Park, but it's great for the people to come out because 1,000 cars, classic cars you can't beat, Johnny Angel and the Halo, all kind of things for the kids, for senior citizens. It's just a great day. So it's a great cause and a great day, and Allegheny County is proud to partner with a partner in the Rev 'em Up for the Kids charity.
Well, I know one of the questions that the viewers out there in TV land will have is, are you going to bring a car to the car cruise?
I'm actually going to bring 2 cars. I'm fortunate that I have 2 classic cars to bring that day.
So you're a cruiser. I guess you've been to many a car cruise around the Allegheny County area. How does this one rate?
I have been to a few cruises, and this by far is probably one of the larger ones. As I mentioned, 1,000 cars. It takes up the whole fairground grass and the asphalt and the related areas. So this probably rates as one of the best ones as far as size and sheer things to do. So I don't think I'm alone. I think a lot of people not only bring their cars, but if they have multiple cars, they find the way to get 2, 3 cars to the fairgrounds for the Rev 'em Up for the Kids.
Well, Vince, thank you very much for taking time. And once again, if you want to see the Councilman's 2 classic vintage automobiles at the car cruise, come out and check it out.
Well, I thought we would kind of talk about some book recommendations since we have so many great prizes, and that will hopefully inspire people to want to enter as often as possible. I thought we would offer some suggestions for for some summer reading, and I know you've brought some stuff.
I think that's a great idea. Yep, because the problem is you sent out that email to staff, right, looking for recommendations, and I just, I love reading all different sorts of books, but I find myself that I'm usually reading children's books or YA books, young adult. So I haven't read an adult book in a long, long time. But the latest juvenile piece that I read was called The Lions of Little Rock. And it was an excellent book talking about segregation of blacks and whites and the integration of them into the schools, which was a big deal. And, you know, I think kids learn about this a little bit in history class and in their social studies books, but I don't know that they really get a real sense of what it was like to really live that and to be a part of it. What was it really like? And this is a great account. It's a great piece of historical fiction that takes place in Little Rock, Arkansas in the late 1950s, 1957, when that was becoming a big deal down there. And I don't want to give too much away, but it's a story of a white girl and a black girl who befriend each other and what kind of difference their friendship can make. But it's a really true, very, like I said, real account of what it was like to live.
I think that's a great way for kids. I think it's actually a great way for people of all ages to learn about history and have a greater appreciation of historical events when you frame it with a story.
Right.
When you frame it inside of a story. It's not some dry fact that you read in a textbook.
Right. It brings it to life. It makes it much more real, much more, yeah. You can experience it more, I think. And then this is on my reading list. Miss Erin actually read this. It's brand new. It's called The False Prince. And she says that The False Prince is a thrilling first book in a brand new trilogy filled with danger and deceit and hidden identities that will have readers rushing breathlessly to the end. She said she couldn't put it down and she's dying to get her hands on the next one.
Okay.
So this is on my list. I'll be reading this week.
Okay.
And that's brand new. And there's a bunch of new, you know, like I said, I'm reading a lot of juvenile and young adult stuff. And every time I do, I try to make a book trailer on it. We've talked about the book trailers that we've done before through a website called Animoto. And they're just like movie trailers where you get a little preview, a little glimpse of what the movie's about without giving too much of it away. So I've been trying to do that steadily after each book that I've read, and we are linking them to our website. So if kids out there, tweens and teens as well, need new recommendations for books, simply go to our website at bethelparklibrary.org and click on the children's page or the teen tab, and it'll take you directly. You'll see a link for book trailers. It'll take you directly to the website, and you'll be able to view a whole bunch that not only myself but other staff members have recommended. So I do have a couple more, but they're actually adult books recommended. One by Miss Lynn called The Pearl of China, and I'm just going to read her little write-up here. It says, as I started The Pearl of China, I became aware of the connection to the real life of Pearl S. Buck, the first American woman writer to win the Nobel Prize. The story is a fictional biography of the life of Miss Buck and her fictional Willow Yee, a fiercely loyal friend, as they share mischievous and harrowing adventures, a disastrous mutual love for the famous poet Shu Qinmo, and many interactions with Mao and Madame Mao. Even though it's a fictional account of Miss Buck's life, I was drawn to the intense lifelong friendship of Willow and Pearl, and the story reinforced her love of China. And Lynn has traveled to China as well.
She has. We talked about that briefly this morning, and Lynn mentioned how much she loved The Good Earth by Pearl Buck. And I'm not sure, I don't know whether people still read Pearl Buck's novels or not, but Miss Lynn and I are sort of the same generation, and I remember The Good Earth was one of my favorite reads too. So I think those are people who like reading about foreign places, other places, and are familiar with Pearl Buck. I think they would. That sounds like a good.
Sounds like a good choice.
A good choice.
And then Miss Nancy is a big fan of Jodi Picoult, as many people are. She's a wonderful, wonderful, amazing author. And her latest one is called Lone Wolf. And Nancy says that this story is about family that once close is torn apart by the father's obsession with wolves. A life and death decision has to be made, which further complicates the situation. And the research that Miss Picoult does into wolves and the why for their behavior is very interesting and intrinsic to the family story. So she had me intrigued with this one as well. I'll put this on my list. Oh, nice. Jodi Picoult, I don't know if you've ever read any of her.
For some reason, I've never read any of her books.
Oh, really?
I've never picked one up. So
they are very good.
But I know people love her writing and love her
very
novels.
Good. So. And that one there was 3 copies that were all checked out. So
it's her newest book, right?
Right, right. So I don't have a copy of that one
right
to
now.
show. But yeah, I know you have lots.
I have some too. I have some staff recommendations. Also, I don't have the books with me, but And the first person to respond, and that was no surprise, was
Barb Connell.
Barb Connell.
How did I guess?
And our viewers might remember that Barb and I sat down for a conversation last summer outside on our patio. And Barb really is our most avid reader, I think, on staff.
Yeah, hands down.
Hands down. And she's the most passionate about books. We have wonderful conversations about books and reading. So if you're in the library and you're looking for a recommendation, I always tell people, go talk to Barb Connell, because she has a long list. But these were some of the books that she's enjoyed in the first half of 2012, and these are not necessarily new books, but they're books that she has gotten. They're new to Barb. Mm-hmm. They're new to Barb, and they may be new to some of our viewers. The first one is The Pioneer Woman: Black Heels to Tractor Wheels. And this is by Ree Drummond. And some of our viewers may be familiar with Ree Drummond because she now has her own television show on the Food Network. She's a cookbook author, and she also has a website. And this first book is really sort of I don't know if you call it a biography or of a memoir. Ree lives in Oklahoma on a cattle ranch with her husband and 4 children. And this, as Barb describes the story, this is a beautiful romantic story of a woman who decides not to go to law school in Chicago, but instead settles down on a cattle ranch with a dreamy guy who really loves her. So this is a true story. I mean, this is a real life romance, that's such an appealing way of describing it. It makes all of us want to read that one. But in addition to this book, there are a couple of her cookbooks. She's written some very popular cookbooks. The second one is Hotel on the Corner of Bitter and Sweet, which again is not a new book, and this may be a book too that's somewhat familiar to our viewers, and it's very popular with a lot of book groups. And this story is set during World War II in Seattle, Washington. And it is the story of a relationship between a young Chinese-American, actually teenager, and a Japanese-American girl. And they fall in love as young people. But, of course, their relationship is interrupted when the Japanese Americans are interned in camps, which is what happened during World War II. And sort of like Pearl of China and the Lions of Little Rock, it brings a little piece of history to brings it to life for the readers. And Barb says, I love how the author took what might have been a paragraph in a history book and turned it into a living and breathing story that helps us feel compassion for what Japanese American people went through in our country. Her next recommendation is The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak. Or Suzak, I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that right. This is also on my to-read list. She said this was a book that was recommended to her.
Oh.
Okay. And she said it came from a patron who had to read it for a book group. And the interesting thing about this is that the patron had been somewhat persuaded to join this book group. She was not a reader.
Oh,
okay. So she decided she would try it. Mm-hmm. She took the book, read it, and loved it. And Barb describes her now as being on fire for books. And I always think that's wonderful when somebody who has not done a lot of pleasure reading finds the right book.
You just need that one book to get you hooked, to get you started.
And once you get started down that path, then
there's no going back.
You're done. You're done. But The Book Thief has an interesting premise. It has the narrator of the book is death. Death is personified by the narrator, and is the story of a young girl who steals books in Hitler's Germany and becomes friends with a Jewish man hidden in her home. The Book Thief. I've talked to several people that have read it.
This one I've heard of, yeah.
I've heard of, and I think it really started out as a young adult book.
I think it has. I think that's why I'm familiar with it.
Yeah. But it's one of these crossover titles that, and I think actually more adults may be reading it now. Mm-hmm. And then another recommendation is New Dreams by, and I'm not sure I'm pronouncing this correctly, but I'm going to say Jai Pausch. And this is the wife of Randy Pausch, the author of The Last Lecture. And some of you may remember that Randy was a professor at CMU and died of cancer. It's already been 4 years since Randy Pausch passed away, but one of his legacies was this wonderful book, The Last Lecture. And New Dreams is Jai's story of how two parts of this. Her role as a caregiver for Randy before he passed away, and then the life she's now leading with her children. And she says they've begun the healing process by following Randy's example of looking for magic in life every day. So if you want to, see what has happened to Randy's family, you might want to read Dream New Dreams. From Pat DiGregorio, another staff person, and also a very another avid reader. You go to Barb, and if Barb's not around, you try Pat. Try Pat. She recommends a book that she read in her book group that's also on my to-read list. I got a long to-read list. I got to start. I do. We all do. State of Wonder by Ann Patchett. And Pat says this book had her living in the deep, dark Amazon jungle along with Marina Singh, who's the main character, who is coerced by her pharmaceutical company's big boss to bring back answers about a colleague's mysterious death, as well as a progress report on a coveted fertility drug used by the natives. She describes it a riveting novel filled with suspense and adventure right up to the end. State of Wonder by Ann Patchett. So,
that sounds like a good one.
Sounds good. Now I have a lot more, but I'll just talk about one or two more. These are not books that I have read.
Okay.
Every spring there's an event in New York. It's the BEA, and that stands for Book Expo America. And this is an annual event. It's really for the publishing industry. Although I think this year they let the public in. But it's book publishers, booksellers, and librarians. Librarians attend the BEA. And one of the things that they do during this, I think goes on for several days, is the librarians have a shout and share event. Which I love the whole idea, is shout and share. And these are the books that librarians have read. These are new books librarians have read that they want people to know about. So I'm going to talk about this one. I did bring one, and this is The Flight of Gemma Hardy. And when I read this little description of this book, it's going to sound very familiar to you. It's going to sound like a classic novel you might have read in high school. Okay, this is the story of a young woman, Gemma Hardy, who comes to Scotland after her father passes away. And she comes to live with her kindly uncle and family. But after her uncle dies, she's left under the care of a resentful aunt and suddenly finds herself an unwelcome guest. She's then sent off to a very strict private school, which after that she ultimately finds a job as an au pair to the 8-year-old niece of Mr. Sinclair at the mysterious and remote Blackbird Hall. Does that sound like a book? The plot of a story you might have?
It sounds like a couple of different ones. You read that. I was had a couple floating through my mind.
Well, it is sort of a reimagining of Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte, which is one of my favorite classic books. I've read it a couple times, and I've seen different movie versions. I never tire of Jane Eyre, but this is a reimagining of the story, The Flight of Gemma Hardy. I have talked to somebody that read it that loved it, so if you would like that. If you like that kind of reading, you might enjoy that. If you like John Grisham, and I know a lot of people do, a new book by a man named Matthew Quirk, and it's called 500. 500 is the title, and it's about a young man who graduates from Harvard Law School, and he gets his dream job at a consulting firm in Washington, D.C., but now he's staring down the barrel of a gun pursued by two of the world's most dangerous men. To get out, he'll have to do all the things he thought he'd never have to do again: lie, cheat, steal, and this time maybe even kill. So
wow, that sounds like a thrilling.
That sounds like a thriller. And again,
suspenseful.
Yeah, if you like John Grisham. Now there's another one on my to-read list. This is, and I'm starting to hear stuff about this, Age of Miracles.
I haven't heard of this one.
We've talked about how time seems to be going so quickly.
Yes.
Well, this is the story of, on a seemingly ordinary Saturday in a California suburb, 10-year-old Julia and her family wake up to discover, along with the rest of the world, that the rotation of the earth has suddenly begun to slow. And the days and nights grow longer, and gravity is affected, and the environment is thrown into disarray. So, and then as it says, Julia confronts her parents' faltering marriage, illness, the death of a loved one, her first love, and her first heartbreak. And an interesting premise. It's sort of a coming-of-age story, sort of a fantasy science fiction. This is Age of Miracles by Karen Walker.
No, it says if you liked Lovely Bones.
If you
like, be a read-alike.
If you enjoyed Lovely Bones, I'm not.
I wonder how similar, because I did read Lovely Bones.
Yeah, I don't know if the stories are so similar, but I think it's the fact that you have a young narrator, and in an unusual set of circumstances that makes this. I tried Lovely Bones. I couldn't get into it too much, but
that was a book that stayed with me for a long, long time.
I know.
Good one.
I know a lot of people
very
really
heavy.
Really enjoyed that. So if you like Lovely Bones, you might like Age of Miracles. And then a book that's been on the bestseller list, Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. And this is the story of Nick and Amy. Amy disappears on their 5th wedding anniversary. Is her husband a killer? Is the question everybody is asking. And the story's told from the alternating points of view of Nick and Amy. Nick's the town's golden guy. Suddenly he starts to lose a little bit of luster because what seemed to be a picture-perfect marriage turns out not to be so perfect. So, Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. So, I could go on for forever and ever. I got more and more and more. But those are just a couple of suggestions for your summer reading. And of course, we have that wonderful grand prize of our lovely telescope. So, and if you come to the library, you're looking for more ideas, more reading,
if you need more recommendations, or you didn't write these down fast enough, you know where to find us.
Well, you know where to find us. And if you find me in my office and you ask me to recommend a book to read, you may be in there for a while with me because I have lists all over. My husband teases me. He said, you know, Mira, I think you enjoy reading about books as much as you do enjoy reading books. And that's true. Barbara Connell and I share that. We've talked about that very often. I get excited reading a description of a book. I just that sounds wonderful. So beware, if you ask me for a reading recommendation, you may go away with more than you ever dreamed of. So. Well, I think
that's never a bad thing, though, is it?
That's never a bad thing. Adult programs are we don't have too much adult programming.
Ongoing clubs, right?
But our ongoing programs are, of course, happening. And I'll remind people about Chess Club. That's our newest group. This is not to learn how to play chess. This is for adults who would like to have somebody to play chess with.
And we had some folks interested in a chess group for kids, so I'm excited to announce that we will be starting that in the fall. So more information on the next show. But we will be starting up a chess club for kids. And we will teach more the how-to and some strategies, and then once, hopefully once we get better, then we can actually just start playing for fun.
Oh, that's great. It's good to hear that young people be still playing chess and learning the game.
Yeah,
so great.
It's one of the world's oldest games, right? I mean,
I think it is.
Classic game.
Well, the Adult Chess Club meets every other Monday evening. So, and of course, as Miss Elaine said, our regular programs are going on all through the summer. So if it's hot or rainy, whatever weather it is, come on over to the library. If you want to learn more about what's happening in the library, you can always give us a call.
Click on our website.
Or best of all, come on into the library and visit us. We'll see you next time. Thanks.
See you then.